government has been making the wrong kind of investment decisions. So
decades, where would you take it from? Sorry, no. If you say that, what money would you take from whom in order to have buttressed our water system over the last 2 decades? Who would have suffered? Which departments?
None. And
health, education. Where was the money? Where was the money going to go to?
I will happily answer you, Pat, if you give me 30 seconds to do so. The money will come from general taxation. We would not abolish the universal social charge. We would not increase taxes on people to fund this.
Hang on a second now. Hang on, Owen, just wait a second. The universal social charge did not exist until the crisis. So you can't say that a tax which is a new tax was paying for water all those years ago. It was not. It simply didn't exist. So I'm asking you, before the USC came along, you say we didn't spend enough on water. So from which budgets would you have taken the money to pay for water in a way that you would like to have it been done at the time? So would it have been health, education, the armed forces, the Gardaí? Who would have suffered to give you the Rolls Royce that you wanted?
And Pat, I am happy to answer the question if you simply give me enough time to answer it.
I'll give you thinking time, yes.
No, I can answer both questions. The first is, in terms of now, there would be no need to raise additional taxes. We simply wouldn't abolish the USC. In terms of historic taxes, ordinary workers were paying sufficient taxes. The problem is...
You want to keep that regime where half of what you earn goes straight to the revenue, because you'll never change the USC. Come on.
Well,
that is not what ordinary people want. Ordinary working people want. People who don't work, it doesn't affect them one way or the other. But people who work, you earn an hour's overtime and half it goes to Michael Noonan. How fair is that?
Well, first of all, Pat, I would imagine that I spend a lot more time with ordinary average income earners than you do. But what's also crucial is
cheap shot. Come on. All my colleagues in News Talk, they're not high earners. I work with them every single day of the week, and I know their difficulties every day. I'm mature. I've earned a good living over many years. I started at the bottom like everybody else, and I'm looking at people who are working their way up from the bottom. So don't lecture me about the company I keep.
First of all, Pat, I represent 1 in 4 voters in Dublin Midwest, and I represent people on average incomes and on low incomes. And I meet with and work with these people every day of the week. And they're business people, they're working family members in the public and private sector. None of those people are paying 50% of their income on tax. They're paying between 25 and 30% of their income on tax.
I said to you about every hour's overtime. Once you're on the higher rate, every hour's overtime you earn, you pay over 50%.
What those people are telling me, and these are the 1 in 4 voters in Dublin Midwest who talk to me.
Over a 20-year period, 30-year period.
The majority of people in group water schemes get a grant annually for the management and maintenance of those schemes.
You take my general point. Are people to be compensated for the money they have spent over the years when you said, then answer it.
I will if you let me. What people are currently paying for is the access to domestic water and sanitation, and they shouldn't have to pay for that. There should be no distinction. There is no proposition.
Yeah. By the way, in terms of decisions made by political parties over the years, some of the decisions made by Sinn Féin in the north and all the troubles that were caused up there, the murder and mayhem, resulted in a huge security bill to this state. Perhaps if we didn't have to pay that bill over the years, we might have had more money to do the ordinary things. Would you accept that proposition?
What I'll say is this, as somebody who lived in the North, Pat, for 11 years, particularly during the height of the peace process, and as somebody who was elected there, Sinn Féin, along with other parties, has put in an enormous effort to ensure, A, that the conflict was brought to an end, and B, that all of the legacy issues of the conflict are adequately dealt with. I played a very small part myself in that as a Sinn Féin elected representative, but I don't think people will criticise Sinn Féin for the effort we've made in bringing an end to a conflict and ensuring that we have peace.
And what about its part in creating the conflict? Come on, Owen. That's the question I asked you. The cost to this jurisdiction of a huge security operation because of the paramilitary activities of the IRA.
And the people we represent did not create the conflict in the north. And in fact, and again I say this as somebody who lived there and as somebody who worked there, the effort that Sinn Féin activists on the ground and Sinn Féin politicians, along with those from other parties, made to bring about an end to that conflict, I think speaks for itself.
There are so many subordinate clauses in that particular response. Eoin and Broin.